Guys, we are 1 week away from the NFL draft. This is where the lowest teams in the NFL will try and convince themselves that they actually have a chance. In Cleveland, they call that just a normal Sunday. This week, I'm going to dip my toe into the Masters, play a little Would You Rather, and break down some draft talk. Because on this podcast, you guys, we are all about overcoming challenges. So shout out to Rory for beating his biggest rival, Augusta, and showing Josh Allen it is possible to close. From Wondery, I'm Agar, and this is The Offensive Line. Welcome to The Offensive Line, you guys. We're here to make some picks, talk some and hopefully make you some money. Coming up on the show later is my good friend, not best friend, but good friend, Geoff Schwartz. He also is a fan of a certain Hawaiian shirt, which we'll be poking some fun at later. But first of all, guys, I want to talk about something that happened in the past 2 weeks. You may notice I don't have a black eye today. That's because it's fully healed. Still is a little bit painful on my eyebrow. I don't know if you guys saw, I posted on social media. I took a little spill. I met the floor or a wall. I'm really not quite sure. Might be the concussion. But I took a little spill and everything's fine though. Got a CAT scan. I went under concussion protocol for a little bit, hence the 2 week break. However, if I'm going to miss 2 weeks, guys, I think these were the 2 weeks to do it. Still, a lot has happened these past 2 weeks, so we're going to decode a little bit and play a little game of what they said, what they meant. Starting with Adam Schefter this past week said there are signs the Browns are taking Travis Hunter at number 2. It's like that saying on TikTok, guys. I wouldn't tell people I won the lottery, but there would be signs. However, the signs in this case are that the Browns suck. So what he actually meant to say was the Browns are so bad on offense and defense, they're going to try and draft someone who can play both. Moving on. When asked about Justin Fields, Jets cornerback Brandon Stevens said, I think he has what it takes to lead this offense, to lead this team. I think the sky's the limit, guys. What he meant to say was, well, of course the sky's the limit. The floor was in literal hell, okay? Can't get much worse. The bar's so low, Kyler Murray could have a drink at it. Moving on. Dak Prescott said this week he's recovering well from his hamstring injury, and he said, if I had to play a game today, I could definitely do it. What he meant to say was, I'm very comfortable playing football games in any month that isn't January or February. Lucky for him, he usually doesn't have to. Moving on, guys. The Browns brought in Kenny Pickett to add to their quarterback room. He said, I'm not going there to hang out. I want to go play. What he meant to say was, no one in their right mind goes to Cleveland, Ohio to hang out. If I don't beat out Joe Flacco for the starting quarterback position, I'm going to jump off a bridge. And lastly, you guys, Raiders head coach and adjunct professor Pete Carroll said teaching at USC this spring has been, and I quote, special. What he meant to say, what he really meant to say is this is a big commitment. I probably shouldn't have done both jobs, but however, it's special to me because this is the first time I didn't decide to pass. This is one of my favorite segments we do on the show because it just provides some clarity for you guys. Sometimes there's coach talk out there. We need to tell you what they're actually saying. Let's play a little game of Would You Rather with some other NFL headlines that happened this week. I'll give you guys 2 options, and then I'm going to pick the more desirable of the 2. You guys can leave a comment in the comments which one you think is your pick, but I will give mine. Starting with the Browns and Giants both seem to be set with their quarterback rooms and not planning to draft one in the first round. So would you rather have the Giants quarterback room or the Browns quarterback room? You can comment in the comments which one you would choose. I'll tell you which one I would choose. Let's look at the 2 quarterbacks rooms first of all. Giants quarterback room we know is Russ, Jameis, and Tommy DeVito. The Browns quarterback room is now Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and a hurt Deshaun Watson. This is bad, you guys. However, I'm going to focus on a motivational aspect, okay? Because as unappealing as the Giants quarterback room might be, the motivational speeches that would come out of there, you got 200 motivational speeches for about 4 wins, you guys. So not great, not looking great. However, I think I would take that strictly for the entertainment factor there. Not much entertainment happening in Cleveland, Ohio. The next would you rather, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers because it is the off season, and who dominates an off season more than Aaron Rodgers drama? Aaron Rodgers still hasn't signed with the team yet, you guys. It's April. As a Packers fan, I'm very, very used to this, okay? My Aprils were overrun with Aaron Rodgers talk, and I hated every second of it. So would you rather sign Aaron Rodgers or not have a quarterback at all? Let's be honest, kind of the same thing. So this should be pretty easy. I honestly, and I know what you're thinking, okay, Aaron Rodgers is a first ballot Hall of Famer. The talent was there. I, as a Packers fan, got me a Super Bowl, love him for it. I don't know if I'm feeling the Aaron Rodgers drama and the offseason drama. And would that be less stressful just to not have a quarterback at all? Maybe. Just have your defense take care of it. I don't know, guys, but I'd probably side with that. No quarterback. No quarterback at all. And I know you're saying that's really ironic for a Packers fan to say who has a third franchise quarterback in a row. Okay, keep it in the comments, guys. Moving on. Bill Belichick's girlfriend. It's not an episode of The Offensive Line without Bill's girlfriend out there, guys. She's once again in the news because Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, she has a name, was seen on the field during UNC's practice. Unbelievable. It was a great outfit, by the way, but she's fully a part of this UNC team now. How I feel about that, I don't know. So would you rather have Bill Belichick's girlfriend as a coach or Matt Patricia? Here's the reasoning, guys, okay? Maybe Bill didn't work out with all these coaches, right? His coaching tree didn't work out quite as well as he wanted it to. Matt Patricia, case in point. Matt Patricia was hired on offense and defense, and neither one of them made sense, okay? That's just not a good look. So maybe he's going with the younger route and thinks Jordan Hudson, maybe she could be a part of the staff someday. I don't know. I think I would rather have the girlfriend. The ceiling is higher there. As I said, Matt Patricia, I heard my brother sent me too many text messages about how much he wanted Matt Patricia fired. So not going to go there. I'll stick with Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend. The draft is 3 weeks away, you guys. And of course, I'm back with some more NFL draft comps. I don't know if you remember the last time I did this, I compared them to Serial, the draftees to Serial. And there were a lot of weird crossovers there, but it oddly worked out. So I'm back with another one. And this time, we're comparing them to Coachella acts. Before I get into that, it is Coachella week 1. I think there's 2 weeks of it. I feel like I should tell you guys my hot takes on Coachella. The hottest take being I hate it. I don't like it. I'm not a big music festival person. I am a big concert person, though. I'll let you work that one out. But in terms of like a festival that I would go to, I want to be in the middle of BFE, Wisconsin, okay, with some cows in the background, listening to Jason Aldean or whatever country artist where everybody's just hammered. There's no cute outfits. I'm lucky if I still have my flannel somewhere around my waist. That's the kind of event I want to be at. My TikTok page is just overflowing with Coachella Day 2 outfits. And that's great. No hate. If that's your thing, that's great. I couldn't do it. It's hot too, by the way. It's like 100 degrees out there. People are camping, glamping, I think. It's just not where I would choose to be, okay? That's a nice way to say it, but good for everybody that's out there. Give me a country concert any day. So let's do some comparisons here, guys. Let's start with Cam Ward. Cam Ward is the Post Malone of Coachella, okay? This is pretty obvious. It's the obvious reason everyone is there. He's the headliner. He's on the main stage. You're going to see him because everybody wants to see him. But he's just chilling, calm guy, okay? He's just there to do his job, maybe be in a few commercials. Next up, let's do Shador Sanders. Shador is the Lady Gaga of Coachella. Their name just draws you in, right? They're one of the greats. The name is also associated with the Super Bowl. Lady Gaga was compared to Madonna at one point, so they both now are in the shadows of an 80s or 90s superstar. However, just because the talent is there doesn't mean the physicality necessarily is. They both don't really move around on a big stage quite like we'd want them to. Next up, Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter is the T-Pain of Coachella. T-Pain was at Coachella, guys. This is my childhood, okay? His performance might not be for the main stage. It wasn't at Coachella, but it should be, all right? His performance will always be appreciated, especially by the generation prior to him, aka my generation. Shout out to Abdul Carter, by the way, if he even knows who T-Pain is. That's big bonus points there. But he might, there are aspects of his game that he might need to fine auto-tune, little play on words, for the NFL. And I think that's a great comparison. Abdul Carter is the T-Pain. Don't make me start singing the lovey-dovey Kiss Kiss song. Next up, Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty is the Glorilla of Coachella. Guys, they put up numbers this year, okay? Glorilla was all over TikTok. Absolutely amazing. And Ashton Genty was as well. They might be your favorite, but their performance is slightly less appealing because of all the other performers in that space currently this year. You see where I'm going with this? However, they still have that something special that you have to see, that quickness. There's more TikToks that have been made about them than anybody in their space. It's a trendy pick this year. It is definitely trendy, but it might pay off for you. And lastly, Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is the Travis Scott of Coachella. Aside from the obvious name comparison, Travis Scott technically wasn't a headliner this year, but his name just being out there made him one. Travis Scott also has 2 separate songs featuring Drake and one featuring Kendrick. So basically, you guys, he plays both sides. Those are my comparisons. Those are my player comps. I'm sure we'll have more throughout the season because why not? Why not compare something that should not be comparable at all? It's my favorite thing to do. Guys, coming up next, I'm back to making picks, so we had to bring in the smartest guy we know, Geoff Schwartz. Stay right here on the offensive line. Guys, welcome back to the offensive line. Ladies and gentlemen, we are once again joined by the one and only Geoff Schwartz. Geoff, welcome back. Thanks for coming back on the pod.
I'm glad to be here. Yeah, it's a draft season. It's awesome.
It is draft season. However, you are taking a little break. I don't know if it's much of a break though, because the entire family's there. So it's a little busy, but you're in Myrtle Beach right now, right?
Yes, I am. I'm in my second week of vacation. Obviously, the dog feels some sort of way about it as well. But yes, I mean, it's so, people will understand this that have families. Like a vacation is your wife and you, a trip is your family. So like, this is a trip. This is like, it's a lot of family, fishing and enjoying the sun, but it's a lot of fun to be here. And my dog obviously feels a certain way about it. He's very excited.
I do want to say though, it is Coachella week for those of you that celebrate. And Geoff really got into the Coachella vibe with this lovely picture you posted on social media. What is going on here, Geoff? What's this fit? I just need to know.
Oh, first of all, my wife looks fantastic, which is the most important part of this at all. So a couple years ago, I just started my buddy Duke Manyweather, who maybe you had him before, I don't know, but he trains all these offensive linemen. We'll talk about him in a little bit with some of these offensive linemen we'll talk about. He introduced me to these Hawaiian outfits. They are super comfortable. They're like $22 on Amazon. They're big and tall, leisure. They're super comfortable. They're lightweight. And no one cares what I wear. Like no one's looking at me in any of these pictures.
Right.
So I wear them to a lot of trips we take. A lot of them are like, tropical trips, Mexico, stuff like that. So it makes sense for me to wear them. One Coachella thing, my TikTok seems to be inundated with Coachella stuff.
Right.
I just don't care.
No.
I don't care that you are camping or glamping. I don't care what celebrity wore to Coachella. Like the performances
all over.
Look fine.
It's an epidemic. Like
I just don't care.
Clicked on one and now every other one is day 2 Coachella fit.
Like, congratulations.
I'm with you. I'll take your Hawaiian outfits over Coachella fits any day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Okay, as you mentioned, the draft is a week away. Outside of Cam Ward, there's still a lot of questions around it, as we kind of expected, but maybe a little bit more than we thought because of the whole Aaron Rodgers situation still happening, now the Saints-Derek Carr situation. A lot of question marks, specifically around quarterbacks. Your thought on Shedeur going number 2 to the Browns. The odds are in favor to land in Cleveland. Is now with Travis Hunter. And this was a big thing this week. It was really weird, guys, because Shedeur, I think to go number 2 was like minus 1,600 odds-wise. Now they're minus 225.
Yeah.
And Jackson Dart's moving up the list a little bit too. Hunter this week, Travis Hunter this week said, he told reporters, he'll never play football again unless he can play both offense and defense in the NFL. What are your thoughts on that? Are you buying this? Travis Hunter to Cleveland, this whole talk about having to play both sides. I mean, what are your thoughts on Travis Hunter?
Fantastic player. But I mean, if you don't want to play ball anymore, that's your own choice. I mean, you can't do both in the NFL at the level you did at Colorado. Most of it's not even the wear and tear. It's just like the playbooks, right? I mean, you have, college playbook, let's say it's 100 pages, NFL playbook's 300 pages. Like you just can't do both at a full-time level. That's why I think if you want to do both, you're a corner with a wide receiver package. We saw Colorado. He did not have an extensive package of plays offensively. He just was so good when he got the ball that it might have looked that way. He was a full-time corner and played wide receiver full-time, but not a full offensive package for him. That's basically what he would do in the NFL, right? Is play corner and have some package plays. if you're a wide receiver, you're not playing corner in the NFL. So I think teams view him in different ways. But once he gets to the NFL, he's not going to have a choice. Like the Browns are not going to be like, you know what, buddy, do what you want. They're going to tell him, hey, you're playing wide receiver, you're playing corner, you're doing this and that. So look, the odds for these picks, Annie, they change so much, right? With the report. There could be a report from NFL Insider today. The Browns like Shedeur Sanders, and all of a sudden the odds are going to flip back the other direction. It does feel like Shedeur is losing steam, though, to be drafted high, which makes a lot of sense. Look, if you're ranking draft picks 1 through 25, just on a big board, he's probably around 20 to 25. And Cam Ward, by the way, is not one either, but he's a better player than Shedeur, so that's why he's going number 1 overall. So, look, can Shedeur go 9 to the Saints, 21 to the Steelers? Will someone trade up above the Saints? The Panthers even talked today about wanting to move out of 8. So I'm kind of curious, what happens with Sanders. That does affect a lot of the draft if he goes number 2.
Yeah, and this is a weird draft too because, I mean, we focus so much on quarterbacks, but as we know, it's not heavy quarterback draft, and they ranked the guys against last year's draft, and Shedeur was low. I mean, lower than like a JJ McCarthy, obviously, but like all these other guys, it's a weird quarterback draft. So let's talk about the other guys that are going to go in this draft because there are other positions other than quarterback. I just played a game, Geoff, before you came on. It was a would you rather. So I'm going to give you the option now to choose. Would you rather talk about Abdul Carter or Ashton Genty? This is totally your call, and you can go and react to either one of those.
Well, let's do Abdul Carter because I think he's more interesting than Genty, who we know is really good. Carter, a lot of people are going to compare him to Micah Parsons because of the number and where he played. I don't think there's quite the same player. He's just not as strong yet. But what really impresses me about Carter, and this is something that's worth noting, is when you have a player like him that wins with skill and talent, even though he's physically talented, but like skill, right? Like his hands are very good. That translates very well to the NFL early in your career. A lot of the guys that win because they're just more talented at defensive end, that takes more time to develop. You're not just going to do that in the NFL, And Carter is just advanced with his hands. And then it gets really excited. I know the foot thing, is a concern possibly, but you're going to get a player that comes in right away and is good against the pass. Now against the run, he's got to get a little bigger. A little stud. He's not tiny, but that's not what he does well. And to be fair, in college, you probably told him, hey, man, go rush the passer. Like that's where they make their money anyway. So I think when you have that skill set that he has already, the technical part of it down, it's only going to get better in the NFL. So, he probably is 1B, if not 1A for some teams. I think him and Hunter are probably great about the same.
Yeah. I mean, is there a comparison to Myles Garrett? I know you said Micah just because of where he went to college and everything.
No, they're just different sizes. I mean, Garrett's huge. I don't know if you've ever seen him in person before. I mean, he's just a freak of nature. He's my height and we don't have the same body structure, but he's just not. Abdul Carter's not. Carter's built more like a Von Miller, right? Like I think he's 6'3", like 240, somewhere around there. I mean, that's more his build.
Yeah, if you've ever been in the presence of Geoff, it's very very dominant presence. I've never felt more safe walking around New Orleans than when Geoff walked me home one night.
Yeah, I never heard about it. Yeah, I mean, that in the armed National Guard in every corner of New Orleans, which I've been to a lot of Super Bowls. I haven't seen that. That was
crazy.
Quite a presence. Yeah.
Geoff, you're an offensive lineman. The show is called The Offensive Line, as everyone knows. So I feel like we owe it to the big guys to talk about them just a little bit more. And since every team is probably looking to draft a lineman, I want to get the fans educated on who's who. So we're going to do a little fill in the blank here, Geoff. And then just 1 or 2 sentences explain your pick for each of these. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. What O-lineman has the most complete package?
Probably Will Campbell at LSU is going probably 4 to New England. When you look at the reasons why, I think he's a skilled mover, a really good finisher in the run game. Obviously, things to work on with his hands and his timing, his punch. But I think he's going number 1 as one offensive lineman for a reason there because of his ability to just do the things that are important, especially to win in pass protection.
Okay. Most likely to sneak into the top 10.
So this is interesting because I think we have 2 guys at the top in Campbell and Membu. Like those are the 2, right? So I'll give you a third that I think is probably going to sneak in because the Bears at 10 are the option, right? I think Will Campbell goes 4. Membu could go 10 if the Jets and the Raiders go different directions. But, a guy like probably Calvin Banks Jr. from Texas comes to mind as the third offensive lineman. Maybe even the Panthers at 8, if things break out the way that it could, they might sit there and want offensive tackle for the future there. So Banks is probably the guy. The other name that Josh Connolly Jr., it's probably unlikely that the left tackle from Oregon sneaks in the top 10, but that's a possibility.
All right, Geoff, next up, biggest question mark.
Well, this is maybe unfair to the kid, but I mean, Josh Simmons is just coming off a knee injury for the Ohio State left tackle. I mean, he was probably going to be the number 1 tackle in the draft before he got hurt. I think that's the question mark is really not whether or not he can play, it's sort of where he goes. I think there's a wide spectrum. He could, maybe the Niners at 12, like need, or 11 maybe, like he's just on the board. They need a tackle in the future, and they take him and let him sort of sit for the first part of the season, or he could go in the second round. This team's red flag his knee, he's not ready to play yet. So I think it's not really talent-wise for me. He's a good football player. It's just a matter of the spectrum of where he might go early in the draft.
Okay, how about the most underrated in the draft this year?
So I don't know if if underrated is the right word, but Tyler Booker from Alabama is the guard. He's probably going to be the first guard taken. I think he might be like the most ready to play well immediately. And I'm not sure, people, I don't know if I'm sticking to mostly first round picks. I feel like that's really the way to go here. I think that people just maybe don't value guards as much anymore. But he's going to come in right away and be a really good football player. He's a team leader in Alabama, which I think is important to note when you look at some of the character of these guys. Didn't have the best combine, I think, off the top of my head, but to me, he's a ball player. Watch his film. And
then last one, do you personally have a favorite alignment in the draft?
So I'm going to give a shout out to Thomas Perry, who's a guard, a D3 guard center from Middlebury. He's not going to be a first round pick, but for a Division III guy, they have like a weird season where they don't play a ton of games. They have a weird calendar. He went to the East-West Shrine game, played really well. He might be a guy that sneaks into the end of day 2 even. You'd be pretty surprised. He did not go to the combine, but based off his numbers, he would have ranked near the top of all the physical testing for all the offensive linemen. So I'll give Thomas Perry a shout out here. Not a first round pick, maybe sneaks in the end of day 2, but for sure day 3.
Guys, we're appreciating the big men out here today. Geoff, one last question. Can you explain to me and to the people why arm length is so important for alignment?
Yes. So basically, here's the deal, right? So, the idea is you want to be the first to make contact with a defender, or the defender wants to be the first to make contact with you, correct? Because if you get your hands on them, you can control them, right? Well, if you have a longer arm than another player, you make contact first. That's essentially the simple way to explain it, right? So whoever can make contact first can win easily, I should say. If you have longer arms, you make contact first. And that's sort of the simplest way to look at it.
Okay, Geoff, moving on. Win totals dropped this week, and I figured we needed a gambling aficionado to kind of break this down. I know I was pretty busy this week with Masters content and all that, so I didn't do too much looking, but now that they've dropped, there's a couple question marks. There's a couple things we might not agree with. So we're going to pick our over-unders here for some of the lines and explain if we think they're going to hit under or over. I'm going to start with, and this is going to be very controversial, you guys. This might be the only time I talk up the Vikings all season. I'm going to take over 8.5 wins for the Vikings, unfortunately. They had 14-win season last year. They still have the coach of the year. I know there's question marks with J.J. McCarthy, but if they can do that with Sam Darnold, I feel like they might get over that 8.5 hump with J.J. McCarthy. And this division looks very different. Detroit lost their 2 coordinators. So give me the over on 8.5. Geoff, your turn.
I don't want to come on your show, Annie, and tell you what to do here, but you said 8.5 is for a reason. Everyone's going to bet the over. Everyone's going to bet their over. Just letting you know.
Vegas
All right,
is scary.
One team I think no one's going to wager on except maybe me. Carolina Panthers over 6.5 wins. We saw last season their improvement when Bryce Young got back in the lineup, right? And they didn't win every game, but to me that's unimportant, right? You sometimes you have to lose small before you win small, right? And you win big, and that happened a lot last season. I like what they did in free agency on defense. They're going to draft well. They drafted well last season. I think you have to give their coaching staff a great job for what they did in year 1 with Bryce Young. They play in a weak division, so I like the Panthers this year to even maybe push to be a playoff team.
It is. That's a terrible division. I thought we'd be a lot more pessimistic about this, but I think I have over on a lot of these wins. Maybe we're just feeling positive today. Another one I'm going to go with is Vegas. I'm going to take the Raiders over 6.5 wins. They had 4 somehow last year with AOC and Gardner Minshew and Antonio Pierce at the helm. Very different look for the Raiders, as we all know, with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. I think I'm going to take over 6.5 wins there. It's, feeling positive vibes today for some reason.
I'm not putting my money on them. So I have a buddy that I do radio with who says he wishes us well when we make a wager he doesn't agree with. So I wish you well.
Thank you. That's a good way of putting it.
I'm going to take an under. I like unders. Unders good. Cash. Saints under 6.5. I'm just fading the situation, right? Derek Carr unlikely to play for most of the season. They've had to shed a lot of talent over the years, and this might be a reset year, right? Kellen Moore comes in first year. Look at next season. They're already at least amount of cap space. We know this because they push contracts in the future. They need a reset year. And look, are they going to call the veterans? No, but maybe when it comes down in a training camp, do we keep a young guy or a veteran? Let's go young guys. So I like the Saints under. I'm just fading a bad situation in New Orleans.
Tank for Arch Manning. Spencer Rattler for a little bit. Tank, baby. Speaking of a team and the word tank, this is just too easy. The Cowboys, guys. And emotionally, I would bet the under on 7.5 here, but I think I'm going to go over. They somehow had 7 wins last year. They had Dak he was out for half the season. It's going to be even funnier for Brian Schottenheimer if they go under 7.5 wins, but for the luck behind it, I'm going to go over. They have home games against the Jets, Panthers, Raiders, and obviously 2 games against the Giants, the sad, pathetic Giants. So give me over 7.5. Jeff, you have one last one, I think, for us?
I do have one last one. Okay. I'm taking the Chiefs over their win total here. So,
wow.
Niners or Chiefs. I forget which one I was going to do because producer Matt forced the Chiefs on me, but we're not going to do the Chiefs then, okay? We're going to do the 49ers here.
Okay.
I'm going to take under 10.5, more unders again. I mean, I just look, they're not going to be as injured as they were last season, but I just don't like their roster makeup right now, right? They seem to be in a weird position where, they're shedding their veterans because they're expensive, but they haven't drafted really well. If you look at their roster right now, last year was a good draft, but the previous 2, 3, 4 drafts, and part of that is they don't have first-round picks. They did not have first-round picks because they traded them away for Trey Lance. So it's just a roster that I think is going through some flux right now. So give me the Niners under 10.5 wins.
I almost took this one. Question, is strength of schedule, everybody says that the 49ers schedule is super weak. Do you think that's the case? To be honest with you, I haven't even looked at the schedule, but I don't think it matters in certain instances. The thing to look at with schedule quickly, by the way, we do it wrong. Don't look at last year's record. That to me is insignificant. The NFL is a year-to-year league. Look at the quarterbacks they play. So look at the quarterbacks the teams are playing. Because you play good quarterback, the team's most likely going to be good. Because last season, maybe they were hurt, right? Yeah.
Or maybe they had a bad season. Look at the quarterbacks they're going to play.
Well, that's great because that's basically what I based every bet that I just made on. So that feels really confident going into the season, guys. I'm off to a great start. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us again. I appreciate it. You can catch Jeff on his own podcast, which is much better than this one, guys. Geoff Schwartz is Smarter Than You. Still my favorite name of a podcast ever because it's just so fitting to you, I think.
Gabe and Matt, I didn't come up with that. Blue Duck, man.
Amazing.
It's all Blue Duck. Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh, we have the best team, you guys.
Yes.
Also, on the next season of White Lotus, I feel like there's a picture here. Oh. You fit in so well. Look at you. You know what?
It just wasn't good this year. The payoff wasn't worth it.
You know what? I have not even started yet, but I've seen so many spoilers on Twitter and other social media. I don't even know if I should start. Do I watch the show?
I mean, it's up to you. I'm a very simple entertainment person. Yeah. I just want to be entertained. I don't care about the writing. I don't care about the script or just entertain me.
Right.
Entertain me. And the episodes are boring. And so that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Okay, well, good to know. I mean, what can't you see on social media these days? You don't have to watch a full hour-long episode anymore. All right, thanks so much, Jeff. Stay tuned, you guys, because New York has a new quarterback, and you'll never guess what he's saying. Seriously, I don't even know what he's saying. Stay right here on the offensive line. Welcome back to the offensive line, you guys. Over the last few weeks, the Giants signed not one, but 2 bad quarterbacks. Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston joined Tommy DeVito at the New York Giants facilities. Jameis, of course, had a lot to say, including, and this is a quote, It's required for this organization to have more winning so we can have more giggles, more laughter, more fun in this building. I'm sorry, but when I think of the New York Giants, I don't think of giggles and fun, unless it's something about Saquon leaving the facility. Is this the most motivating Jameis quote? Or is there another? This got me thinking, you guys, and it's time for me to rank the best Jameis Winston quotes of all time. So without further ado, these are my top 5 Jameis Winston quotes that will make you run through a brick wall. Starting with number 5. One thing I can always do in the huddle pre-snap is make eye contact. Now, he doesn't specify if he's making eye contact with the DBs, which is usually the case. But nonetheless, eye contact is big for Jameis. Number 4, and I like to call this one Jameis Armstrong. You can't say the sky's the limit when people are on the moon. That's just peak Jameis right there. You get a little reference to probably someone who was, I don't know, going up into space at the time. It was a great reference, Jameis. Number 3, coming in at number 3, a missing decal, I like to call this one. He said, and I quote, represent the name on your back, represent the name on your helmet. Well, we don't got no decal, so represent the Browns. I'm sorry. How do you not know, Jameis? There's no decal on the helmet. But, nonetheless, the motivation was there. Coming in at number 2, guys, these are the top 2 motivational quotes from Jameis Winston. We strong then. He said, I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. Then I said, we strong then. just straight poetry. And if it rhymed, it would be even better. But it's great. It's just poetic justice for Jameis Winston. And lastly, this was a recent one, you guys. My favorite motivational quote from Jameis of all time. Speak in the Lord's Prayer. He said, I'm just praying for the Lord to deliver me from pick sixes. Jesus is a busy man. He's got people to heal, lives to save. But you know what, Jameis? He will save you from pick sixes. Didn't work out last year. Might happen this year, though. Keep praying. Honorable mention, you guys. And of course, it had to be mentioned. That's a dub. Let's eat one. Can I do this is harder than you think to do the W thing. But that's famous Jameis. Famous Jameis right there. There's a lot of other ones, you guys, but those are my top 5. I think it's hilarious. I cannot wait to see what this quarterback room comes up with this year. Between him and Russ, it's going to be wild. It will be wild because they're both motivational, but in very different aspects. I mean, Jameis is entertaining. Russ will just, pull a quote from some scripture or something. It's great, though. I love that Jesus is being represented in that quarterback room. They're going to need it. They're going to need it, you guys. All right, lastly on the show, my favorite segment, no offense. This is a chance to get your thoughts off your chest, to get something that you want to complain about out there into the world. And man, do I have a lot of them. All right, guys, no offense, but the Steelers have absolutely f***ed themselves, okay? Look, everyone's talking about a backup plan if the whole Aaron Rodgers thing doesn't work out. Aaron should never be your main plan, all right? You shouldn't go into the draft needing a backup plan when you have Aaron Rodgers, and that was just the game plan. On a big whiteboard, it just said Aaron. Terribly done by the Steelers organization. I don't understand it now, especially in the draft with Derek Carr in the Saints quarterback situation. If you don't come out of the draft with somebody, okay, and your plan was Aaron and he decides to retire a week later, which wouldn't put it past him, you've absolutely screwed yourself. What I would have done is given Aaron a deadline, okay, and say, make up your mind by the week before the draft so we can actually plan for our future. However, the Steelers don't have any leverage, okay? They have less leverage than Nico at Tennessee. That's it for this week in the offensive line, you guys. Be sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and you can watch our full podcast episodes on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode, you guys. It's great to be back. I missed you the past 2 weeks. I am fully healed. Black eye's gone. Concussion might still be around. If I say something stupid, you'll know. That's usually happens on the show, though. I'll be here next week, you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, Des didn't catch it.